Hello, everybody. Welcome to 360 of Opera Live. Today, our guest is soprano Jennifer Rowley. I hope everyone's having a good Saturday so far. I just finished a yoga class with Premier Opera, Premier Vocal Arts. It was wonderful. Hi, Luz. Good to see you here. There's Jen. Let's get her in. Hola, Stefanos.
Hi, Jen. Hard. How are you?
Good. Oh, it's so good to see you.
See you. Congratulations on everything you've been doing. I've been seeing all your master classes on social media and stuff. It's awesome. Brava, honey. Brava.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I miss you. I miss you a lot.
Cool. See you in Naples when this whole thing is finished.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're wearing by Vinic.
I'm wearing it too. My Jennifer. Of course.
Yes.
Of course. I love my Vivinic. Oh. I have so much. I literally, my whole closet is like, which dress do
I wear today? Suzanne is on fire. She's amazing.
On fire. Those coats. Oh my God. Ugh.
Yeah.
The new short Rusalka coat with the sleeves and the blue.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm very into the bodysuits and all of that. We'll see. I'm eyeing a couple pieces there.
I actually asked her to do like a custom thing for me because I have to go over to Europe coming up in October.
Yeah.
I have to be there from the end of October through the beginning of April. So it's different seasons. So I wrote her a message and I was like, Suzanne, is it possible that you could create me like a reversible dress with two of the prints, on one on each side, that I could wear like underneath things in the wintertime with like and then in the summer I could like belt it and wear it outside, with like because I like the shape of the sleeve on this one.
Yeah.
I was like, can you make a brainchild for me, please?
Yeah. I'm sure she'll come up with something.
I'm gonna think about it. Yeah. But I can do for you. I was like, please.
Well, thank you for being here. I wanted to bring you in because you've been doing so many amazing things during this whole quarantine, and I wanted to kind of talk about that and everything that happened during this time and what's coming soon, since you are traveling soon.
Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna leave time. We have an hour, so I want to make sure we do have time at the end, because I'm sure people will have questions. So
sure.
I'm just letting people know now, if you have questions, we'll get to them, but we'll wait until the end. So to start, I want to talk about your collaboration with Fort Worth Opera. Sure. You just finished the first season of master classes, and now you have a second season coming, let's say. Yeah. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, how that whole process was, and the first part of it. And I know you have a video, just so everyone knows, Jen has a video on her profile with all the details of the next session. But if you can also touch on that, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. So I started working with the young artists in Fort Worth, not this past fall, but the spring before. So I would say that I think I've been there 3 times to work with the young artists. Previous spring, and then I worked with them in the fall, last fall, and then they had me come back. In the fall, I had done a concert where I took my husband with me, which was playing, and then we did a masterclass for the young artists. And that went super well. And so Joe invited me to come back in the spring, and I did like a mini residency where every single young artist by themselves in the 1 hour coaching. And then at the end of the week, we had a big master class where everybody could sing, and it was fantastic. Oh my goodness. So I had like a really great relationship with Joe and Ryan and everybody at Fort Worth Opera. And when we all went sort of into lockdown, Joe and Ryan were watching these master classes that have been online, like the Thomas Keller master class, and like, you know, live stream like the chefs and things like that. And Joe apparently said to Ryan, wouldn't it be great if Jen was on this masterclass series? Like, I feel like musicians are not represented here at all. And Joe and Ryan together said, well, why don't we just make our own? And they approached me with it. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And you know, at the time, I was seeing like some really great ideas happening. Like Lisette Oropeza was doing classes and getting like, I mean, huge numbers of people. I think one weekend she said that she had like 380 people on a Zoom or something. And I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. And so I was seeing like Angel Blue doing master classes. And I was like, I feel like this is a really great thing and people really need this right now. And I was like, I don't want to copy what they're doing because what they're doing was so special. I was like, how could I make it unique for Fort Worth? You know, how could I make something where we connect the opera houses in America, like the business, into this and sort of give singers, number one, exposure during this time, but also like a ton of information. So I came up with this guests series where we basically had guests and we tag teamed all the master classes, which was so much fun. And what was really cool was that all of the guests were very game to kind of be like, okay, I'm going to take on what I know about my side of the business as far as what I'm hearing and things like that, and then throw it over to me to tag team in on what I feel like I know best, which is the vocal technique part of it. So the guests would say, you know, I'm hearing this. I'm not quite sure why. Jen, could you tackle that? And then I'd be like, I'm totally hearing that too. Here's how you fix it, right? And so kind of like going at it from this perspective of behind the table, we're hearing this. And then say, here's how you fix that from like the singer and the vocal perspective. So ended up being really awesome. And we segued into, as we got into the end of the season, more specific, like we had a full week of acting where we had John Hooms do a class on acting and we had Lauren Meeker do a class on acting. And those two classes were really highlights. People were really interested in how do you then take the vocal technique and then allow it to sort of be present and happy and wonderful and also act at the same time. So it was great to get so many different perspectives. But what we learned from that first of classes was that the houses, the opera houses around the country, are being creative in how they are going to hear singers in the fall. And so therefore, we as singers need to be creative in our response to that. So, and we also learned that the majority of auditions that are going to take place before January are going to be online. And, you know, we heard that from Scott Guzliak, who's at Academy of Vocal Arts. We heard that from Winograde in LA. We heard that from David Domeli. And then, you know, Melissa Wagner and the Met National Council Auditions announces their online version of the Met competition. And so when we heard all of that and we saw all of that, I said, you know, we need to give these singers some idea of how to make this happen, because this is not stuff we were taught in conservatory. Like I was taught how to make an audition video in conservatory. I have no idea. So this second session of classes, we felt that the singers who were going to be auditioning in the fall needed more information. They needed the information of how to actually make these virtual auditions happen. And so that's what we're giving them in session 2.
In an already complicated, limiting and complicated situation.
Yes, and it's very complicated, and we want to make it easier for everyone. And also I feel like if singers are allowed to practice these auditions in a setting where we're not, I mean, I'm not judging anything. I can't cast anybody for anything, but I can certainly tell you, you know, what you can do to make this better.
Yeah.
If we have them in a setting where they feel less pressure, less stress, but can get the feedback from the business as to, okay, this is what we're hearing, this is what you could fix, this is what we can do, then I feel like when you're going onto Zoom and standing in there, sitting in the waiting room for the Met National Council auditions happening on the computer, you will feel more confident in the presentation of that, right? So that's what we wanted to do with session 2. And so that's why we created the second session. We just felt we had to. There was more information that needed to be given. So yeah, I mean, that's how we came up with the brainchild of the the virtual audition intensive. It birthed out of, you know, what we had learned in the first session and what we felt people really still needed to have.
Yeah. So what are some a few specifics from the virtual audition session that people, because I know applications are open now.
Yep, they're open. Oh, they'll be open through next Friday. So the virtual audition intensive is going to happen in 6 classes. So 6 classes. The very first class is literally going to be how to create your audition video at home, shoestring budget, with your iPhone, with your external mics, how to set up the lighting, how to set up the frame with your husband.
Yep.
Fire. So, oh my God, I'm just freaking thrilled to have them. We had a Zoom chat the other night, and like the amount of knowledge that they both have is.
They're amazing.
And Jennifer from Lenny Studio will be with us to talk about that virtual materials package, where how to put it together, how to brand it, how to make it look just like spiffy and fantastic. Really showing people this is what you need. This is when you send an email that has your material and your videos, this is what it needs to look like. Then the second class is going to be how to actually present that video audition. So Lauren Meeker from Opera San Antonio is going to be back with us. Her class was just, I mean, it really was the highlight of the first session. She was incredible. Her energy is just infectious, and so
I love her. I love Lauren.
And she is so cool. Like, no one can be as cool as Lauren.
Yeah.
So cool. But she mentioned several times in her first class this technique, which she called the 3 points of focus. And how in an audition setting, where should you look, right? You don't want to look right at the judges, but you also don't want to pick just one focal point behind them, and that's where you sing to the whole time. So she was talking about making your auditions very specific, making your arias very specific with these 3 points of focus. And so I'm going to adapt that technique for the camera so that when you present your audition arias on video, you know where the heck to look, because again, nobody taught us that. And then the last 4 weeks are going to be, and this is my brainchild, like I'm so proud of this, live virtual audition panels on Zoom. So we'll have 10 singers for 4 Saturdays. They will literally wait in the waiting room on Zoom. There will be 4 of us on the panel, myself, a singer colleague, an artist manager from the United States, and an artistic director or a YAP director. So there'll be 4 of us sitting on the Zoom panel, whichever, you know, where you're looking at it. And we will let in the singers who will do a mock live Zoom audition. And they will present their first aria with either a live pianist or with the tracks, which we're happy to have both because you're going to have to use those tracks. It's going to happen. And then we will ask for a second piece, just the same as a regular audition. And then those singers will receive immediate feedback from the full panel as to, this is what we got, this is what we learned from you, this is what you should improve on, this is what you can work on, here's some repertoire you might want to think about, that kind of a thing. And we're going to broadcast all of those classes to Facebook. So everything's going to be live on Facebook, so they can be really nice and nervous and really get those
pressure's on.
Pressure's on. And so that's the structure of the second session. And then in amongst that, I'm going to be doing chats like this on Instagram and some on Zoom with, you know, people who have, you know, really experience with this whole pandemic, COVID, auditioning, you know, in different forms. We're going to have Kate Mangiamelli from the Met Opera Chorus, who's going to talk to us about auditioning for chorus jobs, what that entails and how different that is. We're going to actually talk to Melissa Wegner from the Metropolitan Opera National Council Auditions on how they decided to do this virtually and what the format's going to be, and having her give us, you know, kind of her insider perspective since Kurt Olds is going to join us from the Phantom of the Opera tour in Korea to tell us about how they are continuing to perform through and I mean, and many, many more, but you know, those are the first couple of weeks, and that's what we've got going on.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure all of this has kept you very busy.
God.
Yeah.
Dreaming in Zoom screens. I'm not even kidding you. My dreams are in like multi-Zoom screens. It's so
it's a lot. I do notice that, you know, I mean, I'm amazed, honestly, at everything we've been able to do thanks to technology and Zoom. Yeah. But I have to say that I do feel like it's really exhausting. Like, you know, be looking at a screen and just having to deal with little technology glitches and things all day. It's definitely exhausting.
It's exhausting too, because, you know, I'm teaching privately on Zoom now, and you have to have your full blown energy from moment one on this medium, you know, in person with someone, you know, you have a pianist and you're playing through things, you're going through things, you stop and start this and that. But when you're on Zoom, it's just you. And so the amount of energy that you put out for a Zoom lesson of an hour is like double what you'd put out in a private lesson, you know, just if we were in a studio together. It's and I literally end every day just completely exhausted. Exhausted. Yeah,
this is actually the next question I had for you. Teaching online versus real life, what are the pros, what are the cons, what has been your experience so far?
I mean, I think you can get a lot done. You can, but you have, number one, you have to have a very have to have a very in tuned ear, because on the Zoom you can't always see what's going on in the body, right? Side of the mouth, you can't see what's happening in the throat, you can't see what the breathing is doing so much. So you really have to set up things in a way that's going to be advantageous for everyone, and you have to be in tune to your ear constantly. So for example, you know, the technological things are challenging, because the minute somebody doesn't enable original sound, we spend 10 minutes figuring out original sound and where to find it and it on and this, that, the other thing. But with voices, especially voices of size, you must have an external mic. You must. There's no arguing about it. Like, find a $150 external mic, buy it. It's a tax write-off. You need to have it, because I can't. Not only does the phone and the iPad and the computer limit on your side, it limits what's coming out on my side too. So I have an external mic that headphones are plugged into and the sound goes through, which takes off that limiting from the iPad, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But all of my students, you have to have an external mic. I can't hear, right?
Yeah.
Go by what I hear. I do all of my sessions with my big DJ headphones, those headphones, because my iPad, the speaker limits the sound coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So I have, and I fully like one ear goes on and the other one like fully like DJing it like Pauly D. But the only way to really be able to hear the consistency of vibrato, the consistency of the sound, the space in the pharynx, and to be able to hear when any of those things changes so you can diagnose a technical problem. And you have to be able to diagnose a technical problem with your ear. You have to, you know, if you hear something go flat, sharp, etc., there is a technical problem that needs to be addressed, and you have to figure out what that is, right?
Mm-hmm.
The larynx went too high. Is it that the tongue is depressing? Is it that the soft palate fell down? Is it that you didn't breathe? Is it that you locked in your chest? Is it all of these things you have to diagnose only by what you're hearing? And on your end as a teacher, you have to have the best equipment so that you can give, you know, the best information.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not impossible. I've actually done incredible, there's been some incredible work happening, you know, since March, not only, you know, just with my private students, but on the Zoom master classes. I mean, we heard some amazing singing, and we were able to give, you know, in a 20-minute, you know, in a 20-minute time period, some things to really change voices. And you know, a small thing here or there can really just shoot that voice out, and you can get a fully different sound. But yeah, I mean, it's totally doable. It's totally possible. It's completely possible to make major progress on using Zoom or FaceTime or Skype or whatever you're doing. So I think it's great. Obviously, I can't touch you, you know, so I have to have like, I have rubber bands and like to show like, okay, this is what your back should feel like. This is what your abdomen should feel like. This is what your ribs should feel like. Like we tie the bands around, we do all kinds of, you know, and I've got like tons of like, I love this complete vocal fitness book. And I, you know, I show like diagrams and like body things. I have an app on my phone called the Larynx ID, which I can like show the larynx actually.
I didn't know this.
Oh, it's awesome. Watch it moving. I have my little Larry the larynx who like hard and like, you know, so I really try very, very hard to be able to give that in-person experience.
Visual, yeah.
Without me being able to touch you. So it's a lot of, you know, it's a lot of you tell me what you're feeling here. What's the larynx doing? Is it coming up? You know, get your hand in between underneath the hyoid bone so I can know what's going on there. Like, you know, it's a lot of trial and error, but it's good trial and error because it also teaches the student, this is what your body feels like and this is what your instrument feels like, and you should know how to move it around and make it function, you know, for you. So all of that long-winded responses to say, I think you can get a lot done.
Yeah.
Online medium.
We're getting some highs from Shanley, Horvitz, Alex. Those lessons feel more productive than many lessons I have had in person.
Thank you. I love her. She's so awesome.
I know Shanley from a very long time ago. I love, well, her sister is one of my best friends from undergrad. So I love her.
Gonna be a killer. That voice is, that voice.
Yeah.
Shanley, we love you.
We love you.
So yeah.
Great. So other things, so you've been very busy with Fort Worth. You also did a concert with Opera Naples, your Florida Tosca. I want to talk a little bit about that. How was all of that, which was a little bit of singing here and there during this this whole quarantine and what's happening next. You mentioned you are traveling.
Yeah, gosh. Yeah, no, Florida Tosca was so much fun. It actually was my husband's idea. He started, honestly, when we started the quarantine in March, we were like, okay, it's going to be a month and then we're going to be out of here. So let's like do something fun for a month. This will be silly. We'll put it out. Like people will laugh and have a good joke and it'll be great. And then we'll go back to work. That didn't happen. But it did make some funny videos. And, you know, my husband and I would go for our walks every day and we'd brainstorm like, what could Florida Tosca and Scarpia do next? Like, we really came up with some funny stuff. I love the Mario Kart video where they're like playing Mario Kart together.
They're all so good, and I just love the whole like production. Like she's all, you know, like glamour.
Like every day. Like,
Yeah.
that was fun. And then you know, we knew we wanted to do a concert. We knew we did. And what we were going to do initially was highlights from Tosca. Mm-hmm. And my friend Rafael Davila, wonderful tenor, was in Orlando at the time because his daughter was graduating from college. And so we thought, oh, let's include Rafael. He can sing Mario Cavaradossi. My husband can sing Carpia. I'll sing Tosca. And we'll do like a Tosca. Uh-huh. And we had scheduled to do that. In May, Florida went into complete lockdown. That was the 1 month that they were like, okay, we're going to do something about this. So we weren't able to do that. So we were like, okay, since we can't do that, let's plan like a highlights concert that we could put out and you know, just have some music, right? We all did it for free. We didn't get paid. We wanted to put some music out into the world. And we all had been working on stuff, you know, like at that time, I was learning Roberto Devereux for Opera Australia, which sadly got canceled. And I pray that they're going to reschedule because, God, I love that role. But I wanted to sing it in front of people. So I put that on there and some Butterfly. And yeah, and it was myself and Raphael and Ray, my husband. And we had a great pianist, Jesse Martins from Sarasota Opera. And we had a socially distanced concert. We all had masks, and when we would finish singing, we'd put the mask on, and Jesse had his mask on all the time, and everybody in the room, the camera people, everybody had masks on. So, you know, we felt like we were safe, and it was a big enough space that, you know, we could make that happen. Yeah, that was fun. That was really, really fun. And it, you know, it's online, it's on YouTube. You can watch it if you want to. It was, you know, just great. It was great. But yeah, coming up, so I have one gig that hasn't been canceled yet in the United States that I don't know if they're thinking that it's gonna like be creative and do something cool, but I'm waiting. I'm supposed to do the Mrs. Solemnis with the Philadelphia Orchestra and Yannick Seguin. Mm-hmm. And he's been doing some things in Canada where he's used like the plexiglass screens and things mm-hmm. like that for members. But, you know, Mrs. Solemnis is so large. Mm. So I don't know what could be done in order to keep everybody safe. I have no idea, but they haven't canceled that yet. So I wonder if they're trying to figure something out, which would be super cool. But then if that happens or doesn't happen, in the middle of October, I go to Zurich to make my debut in Zurich. Mm-hmm. And I found out this week that I have to quarantine for 10 days. So I have to go on October 15th, and I have to stay in my apartment for 10 days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do with myself? So I have that. And then I go straight to Marseille to do Tosca. And then I go straight to Paris to do Aida. So I'm scheduled to be in Europe from the middle of October through the end of March. And then I go straight to Dallas to do Tosca at Dallas. Mm-hmm. So going to be busy, which I think is a wonderful thing since this is, you know, since we've been here and I've been busy, but just not busy, you know, singing for people. So I think
it's time.
Yeah, it's really is time. And you know, I've been singing the whole time. Like I have not, I have a lesson and a coaching every week. Like, I have been learning music. I learned Norma last month, like, you know, been trying to do things that I've always wanted to do and didn't have time to do. So, you know, and now I'm working on the Simon Bocanegra, which is for my debut in Zurich. So I'm working, right? But it's time to go into rehearsal and be around colleagues. And, you know, I look at Instagram all the time and see all my colleagues in Europe doing.
I know.
Oh my God, I'm so happy for them. I'm so like looking at Anna Netrebko's beautiful dresses for her Arena di Verona concert. Like, oh my God, I want to wear pretty dresses again so bad.
I know, it's a mix of being so happy and having this feeling of hope with major FOMO. I'm like, why is nothing happening here?
Yes,
why am I not in Europe?
Yes, girl. Yes, girl. You're totally right. So much fun. Oh my gosh. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's real. So talking about this, you posted a couple days ago. I love your honesty and how much you share on your channels, and you posted about having a bad day. And I think it's so important, especially coming from someone like you. You know, there's a lot of young artists who look up to you and are following your steps and following what you do. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that and how, you know, it's important to stay focused and strive for staying positive. But it is, and even in a non-pandemic world, you know, bad days happen, especially in a career like this. So I was wondering if you have, well, first, if you want to talk a little bit about that, but also if you have like some advice on how to bounce back from that, because that's where it is, right? Okay, we all have those bad days. How do we get back on track?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I did a talk at the very beginning of the pandemic in March. Students at SUNY Crane, SUNY Potsdam. Donald George invited me to talk to the kids on Zoom, and it was a great class. And one of the things I wanted to make sure that they knew, and sometimes it's hard, is that it really is okay if you have a bad day. This is hard. This is hard. This pandemic, this having to stay home, not being with your classmates, not being with colleagues, not being on stage, not being traveling, it's hard. It's not how we are accustomed to living our life. And if you do have a bad day, and I said this in the class, it's okay to live in that bad day. It's okay to eat chips and sit and watch Netflix and just wallow in a bad day. It's okay. But then you have to wake up the next morning and you have to say, okay, I lived the bad day. It's time to move forward now. It's time to get up and do my hair and go outside and have a walk and then do something productive, right? And that's a lot of self-motivation. And I also, you know, it's a really good time right now to practice self-motivation.
Yes.
Because in our career, it's completely self-motivation. Like, you self-motivate every day.
Yes.
You have to learn all of your own music. No one is going to teach it to you. So you have to get up every day and say to yourself, okay, today I am going to do this, and have your schedule and motivate yourself to make all of that happen, even without somebody saying, okay, now you have this appointment, now you have to do this, now you have to do that yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said to them, you know, when that bad day is over, you can then practice self-motivation to move on the next day. And what I think is so funny is that I didn't follow my own advice. Like, I gave this great advice and I was like, yes, I'm inspirational today. And then I had a bad day. I said to my husband, oh my God, why do I feel this way? This is awful. I don't want to feel this way. You know, and he said to me, hey, Jen, remember, it's okay that you're having a bad day. And he was like, it's okay that you don't want to do anything today. you can do nothing. You have that option to do. And God, he's so right. And I tell anyone I have a lesson with who's like, oh God, I feel like, total poop today. And I'm like, okay, that's totally fine. Have a bad day. Let's sing. See if you can make you feel better. But it's cool. Go have a glass of wine. It's fine, But then when it happened to me, I didn't take my own advice. So I wanted to share in that Facebook post what I had learned from that experience, and to say, it's totally fine to have a crap day.
Yeah.
If you let that bad day though linger for multiple days, for a week, for a month, then we have a problem, right? Then we seek help, and we need to talk to a professional, and we need to make sure, our head is right. I think mental health is one of the most important things in this business that nobody talks about. It's one of those things that you should budget into your monthly budget, just like you budget your voice lessons and your coachings, because this career, number one, can be hard. Number two, can be lonely. And number three, is an aesthetic career. So somebody isn't gonna like you, and somebody's gonna write something nasty about you. And if you take personally, every time somebody writes something nasty about you, you'll be a basket case. So you have to learn how to deal with all of those possible things. And that's why mental health is so important.
Yeah.
I love this online company called betterhealth.com.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. You don't even have to talk to a counselor. You can chat with them. Like, you can just type. And for me, at the end of the day, after a rehearsal or, a long day, I don't want to talk on the phone. I don't want to talk on FaceTime. I just want to chill. And, you can sit in your bed and just chat and drink a cup of tea. And it really does make you feel better to have someone to help you. So all of that is to say, dealing with our mental health is as important as dealing with our vocal health, our body health, and our cardiovascular health, all of that stuff. It's just as important.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you have a bad day. It is fine. It's more than fine, because you need to feel that. And then you need to wake up the next day and say, okay, bad day's over. Now it's time to move forward. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to sort of get to in that post. I just, we're all going through it right now. We are. And it's not easy. And it's super, especially because now we are seeing people in Europe getting out and being able to sing. And I want to do that.
I want to do that.
Yeah, it is, you're gonna feel some sort of way about it, so, and it's okay to feel that way. Yeah.
And I think something very important that it's important also to notice and take in is that this whole situation has put everyone in the same boat. Like, yeah, okay, now maybe some places are better than others, but at the end of the day, the past almost half year, we've all been in this situation together. And so I think that helps sometimes, when you're feeling bad or realizing that you're not alone. Like, we're all struggling in some way. We're all in this together. We're all swimming.
We are. It's true. And even, even the people who you wouldn't think, that there's no way that person has bad days. They're, top of the food chain, and, they have all this. They too have bad days, and they do feel it. And I think it's really great that, like, even people at my level, at the level of singer who can reach, a good social media following. I think that it's important for us to be honest with our followers, so that they too know they are not alone. And this is hard. And, you know, while we're producing content and trying to put things out on social media and you know, that help young singers, that kind of content also helps. And I think it's important for, you know, for us with, you know, a certain level of a certain number of followers to be able to say, okay, guys, let me help you. I can help you. Take, you know, you can learn from something that I've felt.
Yes.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk next a little bit, connecting with this. It is a tough time. So we just talked about the part, you know, that it's okay to not have a great day. That being said, you are such a driven, self-motivated, positive person. Is there a message you have for your colleagues and for young artists that can give us hope?
You know, here's the thing. I think, and I read at the beginning of the pandemic, I read an amazing article. I think it was by a Navy SEAL who lived in submarines for most of the year. And in this article, he said, in order to deal with isolation and seclusion from other people in small spaces, you need to have a routine for your day. You need to set up a schedule where you know, I'm going to do this every day. And so he said, you wake up, you have breakfast, you check your emails, you go do a workout, you come back, you take your shower, maybe you do a little bit more work, and then, you know, you get to something productive, etc. And I really adapted that from the beginning, from March, from when, I mean, really when we got canceled at the Met, was the 12th of March or the 13th of March? I think it was I think I flew home on
well, it was a Thursday, I remember, because Friday was 13th. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And Friday was the 13th. You're right. So the Thursday, you know, my husband was like, get on a plane right now and come home. I was like, okay. So I flew home right away. And the following Monday, it was one of those feelings where it was like, oh my God, what if we don't go back to work in 30 days? Like what if we have no more season? What is going to happen for the rest of the summer and the spring? And so I had seen this article, I think it was on Facebook, and I said, you know what, this is the way to deal with this. And so I literally scheduled my day that way. You know, you get up, you have some breakfast, I did some emails, then I would do a workout or go outside and do a walk, and then I would come back, shower, have lunch, and then I'm ready to do something productive. That something productive was, I'm gonna learn music. And I, you know, because that's what we do, right? That's our career. So I was working on butterfly. I was like, I want to learn butterfly. That sounds fun. So I started.
I want to hear that.
So much. Oh, I love it so much.
So beautiful.
Oh, beautiful.
It will never get old for me. It's so beautiful.
Really a dream role. It really is. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to start looking at this. So I start, you know, looking at that, and it was fun. And, you know, then I started scheduling some lessons with people, and, you know, things just sort of developed from there. But since March, I have kept that same idea. This is how we motivate every day. I plan every day from the evening before. I know what's happening. I know what time I'm getting up. I know, you know, what time I need to get onto the Zoom to teach lessons. I know when my practice time is. I know what I need to learn, you know, every day, that kind of a thing. I go outside every day. You have to go outside. You can't be inside every day. So my advice would be to create this schedule for yourself so that you can self-motivate, so that you do feel productive, because that's the thing. You do need to feel productive. Give yourself a project. You know, after they've canceled the rest of the Met season, I said, well, okay, I don't have to learn any music for a few months, so I'm going to learn something I want to learn. And I learned all of Norma. and I learned a scene a week, and I had a coaching a week and a lesson a week on that scene, and I kept myself motivated and kept myself going. And in 6 weeks or so, I had learned Norma in amongst all the other things that I was doing. But I was like, okay, now I know it. So now if somebody asks me to sing it, it's not going to be like brand new. I'm going to be able to pull it out and say, okay, here we go, you know? Yeah. And that for me became my motivation, was this is my job for the next 6 weeks. I'm learning this, and this is what we're doing. And I think that helped so much, you know, yeah. Kind of having something where you feel you're productive, you have some sort of purpose, right? Mm-hmm. You have some sort of goal for the day. Yeah. And my goal for those days was, okay, I have to learn this today. I have to learn this scene. I have to learn these pages. I need to translate this. I need to, you know, whatever. So my advice would be, start planning a schedule now. Start every day. I'm waking up at this time. I'm having breakfast. I'm doing this and and plan out your day. And then at 6 o'clock, when you're ready to shut it down, you can go sit in front of the TV. We're watching Shark Week right now. Oh my God.
Have a glass of wine.
Have your glass. Watch Shark Week, and you can enjoy the rest of your evening just, you know, as if it were any other day. And I think that is it's the way to get to when things are going to open again, because they are going to open again. We are going to have opera again. It's going to happen. Yes, mm-hmm. It might not be when we want it to be, but it's going to happen. We're going to have it. And when that happens, you better be prepared, because I think it's going to open, and it's going to open fast. Like, people are going to decide, okay, it's time to open again, and then we're going to be ready to go. Yeah. You need to be prepared. If you have future projects, you need to be learning them. You need to be working on them. If they haven't been canceled yet, you need to, you know, because if they haven't been canceled yet, it means they're planning on doing them. They're going to find a way, you know? So motivate yourself with that idea that this isn't going to be forever. At a point, there's going to be a vaccine, and you know, whether you believe in the vaccination or not, I'm getting it. Put it in, right, go back to work, you know. Yeah. You know, but most people, I think, will get it, and I think most people will get on with, you know, with career and life and music. So let's be ready when that happens. You know? Yeah.
Could not agree more.
Yeah.
Perfectly said. So I'm gonna open the floor in case anyone has any questions for Jen.
Totally.
Shoot, we're ready for you.
Can scroll back and see if there was anything here.
We got some comments. We didn't really get questions. Let's see. Oh, my friend Tigran, my favorite channel. Yay. He has a wonderful podcast.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so in the meantime, guys, you can ask us questions. But in the meantime, if people are feeling shy, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your journey with cooking or any other hobbies, because we know you're a big cook, and in another life you were gonna maybe pursue that. So I would love to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, it's totally true. I was when I was in high school, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a chef. That's what I'm gonna do. And then thankfully I had a teacher who was like, you know, maybe you're a singer. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. But no, I've always loved to cook. It just, even when I was like, when I was younger, like I would like make my parents breakfast in bed. Like I would never forget, like one time we didn't have any, I would make omelets a lot. I'd make like a ham and cheese omelet. And one day we didn't have any ham, so I used salami. It was and I made salami omelet, and like my parents still to this day are like, I can't believe you made a salami omelet. That was disgusting. Yeah, but still, at least I tried. But I did. I used to love to cook when I was a kid. I used to bake and you know, cookies and all brownies and, you know, stuff like that. And so like as I've I mean, as I've come up in the business, like my relaxation is the food channel. And I love to watch like Chopped and like Guy Fieri's Diners, Drivers, and Dives, and like, you know, I just Beat Bobby Flay. I love it. I love it. So I cook a lot, and I take recipes and I like to adapt them, and I, you know, I like to see what I can do with it and, you know, make it better. And I learned how to, you know, I learned knife skills so I can like chop properly and like, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I love to cook. I love to have dinner parties and cook for family and friends. And, you know, I cooked our whole Thanksgiving dinner
I remember.
I mean,
that was so impressive.
My mother-in-law made some awesome sides because my husband like has these like food memories from childhood. So there's certain things that you must have. And I'm like, okay, make it like your mom. So you make it. But yeah, but I love doing stuff like that. And it's super fun. And like when I'm out on a job, like, and I have the kitchen, I love to have parties and like make like full of hors d'oeuvres. And when I was in Barcelona, we had in January, or in December, we had a New Year's party. And I was like, I don't want to just eat bread and cheese all night. So I made like a big pot of bolognese sauce and took it over there with pasta for everybody. And it was gone in 10 seconds. And so, but yeah, and I really try anywhere I go in the world, I try to learn something about the cuisine. I try to learn how to cook something. I lived in Italy for almost a year in 2009 as a young artist at the Comunale di Bologna. And I lived with a woman, a Bolognese woman, who taught me all kinds of recipes. I mean, my Bolognese sauce is literally from the cucina. Like, so but I love that kind of stuff. And it's a really good way to like shut off the brain every day, you know? And it doesn't matter if I'm home or out, you know, working or whatever, I cook every day. Every day I cook something, whether it be for lunch or dinner, whatever, but I cook something. So it's a real, I mean, it's just a wonderful relaxation.
Yeah. Is there one favorite thing you have in your repertoire, like, your kitchen repertoire?
Sauce everybody loves. The bolognese sauce is oh my gosh. And you have to have the good wine. You have to splurge a little bit on like some decent wine, like not the like $2 chuck from Trader Joe's. You need to like have good. But not everybody really loves. But I'm a steak fiend. I love steak. I love a good steak. So really, like, you know, just good salt and pepper on an amazing steak, like
the salt guy,
seared in cast iron with butter and like basted with roast thyme and like, oh,
this is making me hungry.
I love it. So I do. Oh God, me too. And I have another lesson to teach.
I think we got a question here. Let me see. We got a question. Do you have any advice on being able to sleep peacefully during the pandemic? Sometimes the anxiety can get to me. I can't see the rest, but
yeah,
it can get to me just as I try to fall asleep.
Yeah, it happens to me too. I get tough anxiety too. I think, you know, the best advice I can give you is to just get really tired during the day. Like work so hard that you're so tired. Like exercise helps a lot with sleep. I really realize, you know, the days where I've done cardio, some sort of cardiovascular work, even if it's just a walk, even if it's just, you know, 5 minutes of walking, I sleep much, much better. You know, there's just something about that with the body. And so, you know, I do some exercise during the day. See if that help with the sleep pattern. I also make sure that I don't eat or drink after a certain time, because I do feel like certain foods, you know, kind of make you like, they turn everything on, right?
Yeah.
Usually sugar, you know, so I try not to eat too late, you know, making sure that like Nothing that I don't have any like ice cream or popsicles or anything like that, like, you know, too late at night. I try to stop, you know, by like 7 or 8, every, you know, food is done for the day. And that helps because then your body's not really working on digestion by midnight, you know, when you go to bed.
Yeah.
I also, I know this is going to sound terrible, but I keep my phone near me by the bed because I wake up all the time with like all these ideas and I can't go back. I can't go back to sleep. And my father told me when he was working that he would keep a pad of paper and a pen by the bed so that if he had those ideas and they were like running around, he would, you know, write down what was running in there. So I just have like my notepad open on my phone and I keep the light really low and I just kind of type in what I'm thinking about. And what's so funny is I wake up in the morning and it's complete nonsense, right? Doesn't matter at all. But somehow the act of like getting it out helped. And then I went back to sleep. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Notepad or your phone, you know, with the light, you know, nice and dim, where you can take some of those thoughts that are giving you anxiety and put them somewhere else so that they're not like running around in here. That, I think that helps, you know, people go to sleep. It helps me. And, you know, it's okay to take some melatonin, you know, or take some Tylenol PM or, you know, an Ambien if not laying around. Like if you really,
Yeah, and there's a lot of homeopathic
there's a
sleep aids that will do no harm, and
yeah,
they help a lot.
time tea, like that kind of stuff. You know, it's really okay that, you know, you take something like that. If you really, you know, it's not it's not abnormal to not be asleep right now. There's articles online about it, a ton. There's tons of information on how to make, you know, how to make it better.
We have 4 minutes left, and we did get a question here from Fort Worth. Do you believe that these virtual auditions will become the norm even after the vaccine has arrived and the world returns to normal?
I do. I believe that there will be a sense of the virtual auditions remaining because already we were starting to see a decline in people coming to New York for what we singers know as audition season. There was already a decline in that because the opera companies are rebudgeting those funds. They're taking those funds, they're putting it into development, they're putting it into new productions, and they're putting it into practical use in the company. You know, some people are actually just losing that part of their budget altogether. So if they're not paying for someone to come and sit in New York for 5 days and hear 500 singers and, you know, then cast somebody from that. They're not doing that. I'm seeing a lot more of people going to YouTube, watching videos, and then inviting those singers that they like to house auditions at the house. That's going to become more normal. I think we are going to need to continue to submit video auditions. I think that if these Zoom auditions that people are planning are successful, which I think that they will be, I think we're going to see them continue because they really do replace that trip. They replace that expensive trip to New York to hear singers, and they save some money for, you know, for the company. And I do will continue to see, you know, people watching video on YouTube and then saying, we saw this on your website or YouTube, we'd like to invite you to a house audition, please come, you know, whatever. And then the singer then has to take on the expense of that. I think we're going to see a lot more of that happening. But yeah, I do think we're going to continue to see video submission and live Zoom auditions. I think we're going to continue to see it happen for a while. Yeah, for sure. If not forever. If not, it becomes a mainstay in the business. I do.
So sign up for Jen's classes.
Please do.
And don't miss this opportunity. It's going to be fabulous. There's lots to learn. A lot of this is new for everyone, so it's a good chance to come visit you at Fort Worth virtually and learn with you.
And if you don't feel you're ready to sing, that's totally fine. Fort Worth is making this free for everyone. So you can join us on Zoom to observe. You can watch on Facebook for free. Everything is free. Even to apply is free. Fort Worth wanted to make this they wanted to make this opportunity available to everyone because we all do know how important this is and how, you know, how this is going to affect our business.
The video, Instagram is going to cut us. So thank you, Jen, so much for being here with us.